Hello everybody, sorry if I look like I got tears in my eyes, I've just been laughing really hard watching Maple's compilation of me. However, in today's vid, this time around, I'm going to be watching Chen talking about his music in Arcane. Now I absolutely adore Chen. The violin is up there with my favourite instruments of all time, and he's just beautiful. His music is wonderful. I adore his work in Arcane, and thanks to Arcane, I've been able to find out about him. And I want to know a lot more. I want to know what he has to say about his work within the show, and just basically get to know him a bit more. I love all the music and the background stuff. We know this at this point because of all the BTS stuff I've been reacting to. So I want to hear more from this guy because he impresses me a lot. So today we're going to be checking out Chen and what he has to say about his work in Arcane. Come along. If you do want to suggest videos to me, the best way to do that, as we're growing so fast here on YouTube, is through the Discord. I have a Discord server, it's called the Disclord. Thank you, I'm very proud of the pun. There is a forum called Video Suggestions, and what you can do in there is leave links to shows or movies or YouTube videos or whatever it may be that you think I should check out and take a look at. I, every now and then, go through, take a look, see what's popular as well with the rest of the chat, what other people jump on and say, yeah, this is really cool, Claudie should watch this, or anything along those lines. So if you do want to suggest things to me, the best place to do that is within the Discord. I'll leave the link in the description. It's also quite cool. We do watch parties every now and then. There's music, hangouts, book club. There's plenty of stuff happening in there all the time that you may absolutely love. So the best thing to do is just come and join, come tag along. Like I said, I'll leave the link in the description. If it sounds like your kind of thing, come check it out. Let's go. Don't know why I've turned into Mario then, but anyway, here we go.
Hey everyone, I'm violinist Chen, and welcome back to another video. Now recently I've been doing a lot of react videos to different music scenes, both in live action as well as in animation. And today we're going to be doing something very different and unique. We're going to be reacting to my scenes in a very popular animation that some of you may have seen. Drum roll. It's Arcane. Yes, Arcane.
Oh, loving the t-shirt.
Twist my back.
No. Just realised I ain't got subtitles on actually. One sec, there we go.
I know a lot of you must be excited for Arcane Season 2, and I'm totally with you. Arcane Season 1 was just so damn good. The plot, the artwork, and of course the music. It's no surprise that it won a bunch of Emmys, and I'm pretty proud that I was a part of this. It's
As you
so
should
cool.
be.
This started as a project that I was asked to play a role in back in 2019 by Riot, and I have to say I was so extremely impressed, not only by how beautiful the music was, but also by how difficult and how in-depth the music team at Riot went into creating all of the music and making sure that it lined up with all the scenes, all the characters' emotions. There's a lot of Wagnerian leitmotif. So basically, when characters come on screen, they have their theme. I have to say that video game music for me had previously been this thing that was always in the background, kind of the regular epic sounding music, but I never thought about how beautiful it could be and how much storytelling could be put into the music. Also, the music was incredibly difficult and required so much more practicing than I usually do for any sort of film scores. By the way, speaking of practice, I want to share with you this new practice app that I made called Tonic that motivates you to practice, and where you can earn XP to customize your avatar and participate in fun activities and events with a global community of musicians of all levels. The best part about it is that it's completely free. So if you're ready to revolutionize your practicing and your musical journey, download Tonic today. I'll see you in the practice room. So I'm super excited to dive into a bunch of different scenes that I'm featured in for Arcane Season 1, as well as a special live performance that I did with Sting at the Game Awards. Now, it goes without saying that while I won't be diving into plot spoilers, you may see some of the events that happen in later episodes. So if you haven't seen the show and you don't want to be spoiled, this is an obligatory warning to go watch the show.
The editing on this is mega,
so
by the way.
Let's dive in.
Ah, this was Ray. Okay.
That's me. That's me.
For an opening shot, you realise how crazy this is. Bye.
This is the very opening scene of the entire
mental.
season, of the entire series. And I'm really good friends with Christian Link, as well as Alex, showrunner and also producers. I remember when they were telling me that this scene, this opening scene, needs to be so tragic. Everything's lost. Because it was the first episode, they had the pilot. So I was able to watch it. It had other filler music, but then when I watched it, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what they expect. This is what I need to deliver. This is also based off of earlier Powder, who's singing this melody. So the melody that you hear, this.
Do you not find that crazy?
And I also added in a little bit of, I was like, what can I do to make this more tragic sounding? So I added a bit of ponticello.
Is that like the waveringness of it? Does it almost sound like a whimper?
Yeah, you can hear that in there.
Oh my god.
And there you have it. That's the opening scene.
You know what I was going to ask? I meant to ask this a little while back. Is that Grayson? It moves like Grayson. Whoever this enforcer is, it moves like Grayson. I'm trying to work out if I can see their hair at the back, but the shoulders look like Grayson.
And there you have it. That's the opening scene. I'm sort of like had a loss for words. I just listening to it, watching it again. I've watched this so many times, right? Because I was just like, how can I make this better? I remember being in the recording booth, playing it, and then I said, you know what? Even with the ponticello, even with all these other techniques, it wasn't dark enough. There was something about just the sound that it wasn't tragic enough. Mm-hmm. So I went beyond the steps that I'd already taken. I went beyond anything. I was just like, you know what? It's time to bring out the ultimate weapon. So I brought out the viola. I can't play viola. And what you're hearing in this beginning scene, that's the viola. It's why it sounds so dark. And I remember Christian being like, is this going to be good enough, this viola? And I said, the more viola it sounds, the better. That's all I said.
Oh, I see.
It was perfect. It was exactly what we needed, and I'm really happy with how this told the story, especially because there's no dialogue in here. So yeah, music first.
For an opening,
that's super dark, ridiculous. Right? You get a little girl's voice singing, and then a massacre going on. It's honestly just brilliant storytelling, yeah. Also wanted to take a moment to talk about why the violin was so prominent. I remember sitting down with the team and they were just basically telling me that there were two worlds. You've got Piltover, the opulent, fancy, upper class, wealthy neighborhood, and then you've got Zon, right? There's the grungy, lower class, and there would be two different sound worlds that were represented. So for Piltover, they went with a more classical music sounding sound world, and for Zon, it was like a grungier, a lot of electronics, those kinds of effects. In the end, it was this real contrast between it, but at certain scenes, you'd have a mixture of the two worlds, and that was done really well with the music as well. So this next scene is when Jinx makes her first appearance as an adult, so Powder turns into Jinx, and you can see that from all of the experiences that she had earlier in her life, completely messes her up, but the sound of the violin follows her. So this is when that happens.
Why did you laugh? Because you're a jinx!
So the music here was written much like a cadenza, right? It's like a traditional cadenza. There's no beat. And that was really interesting to record together. I remember being like, okay, so you just want me to, without click track, just go ahead and record? And they were like, yeah, just do it. You know, just artistry, go. We had a general sort of, okay, here's a frame of how many seconds it should be, but other than that, I was free to do whatever I wanted within that framework, and that was really cool. Not often do you get to have such free reign. Oftentimes, I think cadenzas in general are sort of a little bit like that in concertos, right? A moment of where the orchestra stops and you have your solo as the soloist, and you become a little unhinged as well. You're free, basically, to communicate and share and unleash, I would say, everything from within yourself. All of the angst, all of the passion, everything. So this is one of the more difficult passages that I had to play. I mean, you hear that. It's not easy, you know. All right, so this next scene is one of my favorites. It has a...
That's one thing about that scene, just real quick. It's really interesting to me is that moment where Jinx thinks that that person's Vi. But then you're wondering, why did Echo get so close to someone that he thought looked like Vi? Do you know what I mean? That's something I never really thought of at the time. And then now I can't get that out of my head. And also that's beautiful as well. There's no, like I said, there's no like metronome or like click track, I think he called it. So it was just basically him feeling the music and making its own tempo as it goes, which I really liked actually. I hadn't noticed that obviously when watching that bit of the episode, but interesting. Okay.
But I mean, you hear that. It's not easy, you know. All right, so this next scene is one of my favorites. It has a certain familiar face that you might recognize in it. Let's take a look.
Hi, me.
So this scene is quite unique. When they asked, hey, Ray, would you like to have your likeness be drawn into the animation? I was just like, heck yeah. I mean, it's the highest honors one could ever have, right? Immortality within the Arcane universe. This is what they call the concerto, and there's a lot of political sort of back-talking, back-channeling happening in the scene. You can see here that they made almost like cross between an opera and solo performance. There's a lot of operatic stage moving when they change the scenes in the stage. Even the rain with the threads and the light shimmering, going almost like a Victorian steampunk, has no magic yet, and still they're using all these manual ways to show these effects in an animation. I thought that was really, really cool.
I loved that.
And of course, we have to talk about the instrument design. It's sort of like a cross between one of those hurdy-gurdy Scandinavian instrument, but then also has this giant trumpet on it, like a bell, a brass bell connected to it. So it's pretty epic looking. Would it work in real life? I'm not sure, but it was definitely a really cool and very Piltover style instrument. One of the interesting things is that when they animated this, it was not motion capture. So the animators, what they did was look up my previous performances, and when I happened to be in Paris, because there was a, Fortiche is based in Paris, I dropped by their studio and gave them a performance sort of in the lobby of the building that they were in. And then they videoed that, and they got to see close up live how my fingers move, how the facial expressions work. And I think they were pretty close. I think they got even some of the marks, like the moles on my face as well, to be very accurate indeed for the character. Yeah!
Oh, that's so awesome.
Wow. Heimerdinger is giving an applause. How often do you have all the champions just applauding you? It's pretty cool. I consider that one of my highest achievements in my career. If we were to rate the likeness, it's kind of similar, I guess. But I've had people tell me that it doesn't look like me. I've had other people say, hey, is that Ray Chen? So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do we look alike? Could this guy pass?
I think it looks like him just if he was in Arcane style. Like they've sharpened up features, if that makes sense. But I think it looks like him.
There's also what seems like frets on this instrument fingerboard, and I don't know how that would work. I think that there's probably more like ornaments. If there was actual frets, yeah, there would be spaced too far apart, as well as the bridge being not so curved. If the bridge was as flat in real life, then the instrument wouldn't work. I would say that the strings are also kind of interestingly placed, where the A and the E are closer together, and the G and the D are also close together, and there's this gap in the middle. There's also kind of a gap you can see in the teeth as well, between the front tooth, so maybe that's just like musician, like instrument.
They do that though, the gap in the front teeth, they do that with a lot of the characters. I think that's a stylization thing. They do that with a lot of the, if you actually look at the characters of Arcane, a lot of them have got like really chunky two front teeth and the gap in the middle. I think it's a style choice.
The next scene I wanted to share with you guys is really special. This was one of the most beautiful, beautiful melodies that I thought was in the entire series. When Victor is a young boy. I remember hearing it for the first time and it was just so magical.
I love this bit.
Yeah, that melody right there.
Oh, Victor.
It's just so full of like mystique, wonder, naivety. It's the magic that's to come. Yeah, honestly, there's so many to choose from, right? There's so many more. We got to keep going down this list. Next one, oh my gosh, of course, yes, the Caitlyn shower scene. Mm-hmm.
Is
You know,
there
it's really
violin
funny.
in
I
that?
saw a meme about this particular scene. It's just a scene of Caitlyn showering. You don't have to go hard on the music. Arcane composer. This scene is it really pops.
Does it? Oh yeah, of course there's violin. Yeah. I had forgotten. I did. This scene cracks me up so much.
That run was really hard. Anyway, you sort of get it. The intensity of the music and also the animation. I mean, again, shout out to the brilliant animators. I mean, this is just, it definitely made being inspired so much easier. By the time I was in the studio, the animation was pretty much almost done. They were just tweaking a few things here and there, and I just got to watch this scene and then be inspired, and then I would just play. It was as simple as that, and I wish every experience could be like that, because it really takes it back, I think, to the music. The origin of the meaning of music is to visualize, right? To transport you, to take you away, to tell a story. This was so easy to do because the story was already there, and I could just feel the emotions and just go along with that, you know, from the visuals. It was like as if I was along for the ride of like Tchaikovsky or Rachmaninoff or any of these composers, and watching in a condensed version of what they were going through, what they were imagining, saying like, here's Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, exactly how it was meant to be. That was the process. There was just so much certainty, you know, in each emotion and every meaning behind every note. Okay, I think we're up to the final scene. Now, this is episode 9, so I'm gonna just skip over it because this same track was used at the Game Awards, and this is the one where I collaborate together with Sting. Let's take a look.
This was amazing.
This is pretty magical too. By the way, Sting is such a gentleman. He's such a stand-up guy.
See, I heard some people say that Sting's voice in this, because I did a reaction to this and other live performances of the music of Arcane. Some people like Sting sounded awful. No, I think at certain parts he sounded very slightly flat, and I think it could have been something with the earpieces or a technical issue. I personally think he sounded amazing, and I think the violin sounded even better. So, yeah, I saw some people be like, Sting was awful. I completely disagree. I think certain points sounded slightly flat, but other than that, I thought it was amazing.
I gotta kill the part of me that saw that I needed you more.
So this track, all about betrayal and basically what could have been, is the title of it. And it's the story between the two sisters, and Powder and Vi, or Jinx and Vi at this point, and their dream of what could have been if the world was different, if they hadn't gone through all the things that they went through. Again, really tragic. Sort of brings it back to that emotion as the opening scene on the bridge. It's even, I would say, even worse because there's this like wistful yearning and longing. So yeah, this one is especially powerful. There we have it. This is like gearing up for the massive solo. Okay, right there, I mess up.
Did you?
And this has been, I just need to take a moment. It has been living with me, like, what could have been if I hadn't messed up. This was really tough, right? So, first of all, there's all these, like, different... all these string crossings. I mean, I love the composer, Alex Temple. He is a wonderful composer. At this point, I can't really blame him. This is something that I feel like was more on me in terms of how used I was to in-ears. And I know it sounds kind of like a weird thing, but people often think that non-classical is somehow easier, but I feel like there's definitely more consideration. Just even the clip-on mic, right, where it's positioned, you try not to breathe into it, otherwise it gets your breath.
Jeez.
And then, of course, the in-ears. I even got them especially made for this concert, but I just didn't practice with them enough. I didn't practice enough
It
for the
sounded
environment
amazing,
that
though.
I was playing for. Recently, I did another non-classical performance where I was a guest artist of Jay Chow. And I played on an electric violin, and I felt like the pickup for that was more sensitive because it wasn't just a mic that was above my instrument. It was the instrument itself.
Oh,
First
wow.
of all, I practiced. I put on my in-ears and I practiced a straight 30 minutes before the concert where I wasn't doing anything else. Backstage here, man, I was hanging out with Sting, I was just like hanging out with all the people, content creators, and yeah, I got distracted. I wasn't in the zone as much as I could have been.
Well, you sounded
that was
like
also
you were.
another reminder because, these things I already knew, but the latency was also a thing. By the time I was hearing it through the system, and this was like a big space, it felt like slightly laggy, a hair later than what I'm used to hearing it acoustically. Yeah, those two things really messed me up, but hey, I'm only human. I have to say that was a humbling experience, but one that I'm really glad that I made because, you can only move forward and you learn from your mistakes and you go on. I say that as I'm like crying internal tears.
That's so funny to me though, because for me that was one of my favourite performances that I think I've seen, like of anything, like ever, let alone just the Arcane stuff. To me, it was amazing. So I feel sorry for him that he messed up and that he wanted to do better, and I know it won't help because I'm a viewer, and an artist's perfectionism is nothing that like a fan can ever consolidate, but I thought it was fucking awesome, I'll just say that. So don't bother. I've listened to that performance so many times since that reaction vid as well, so yeah, I thought it was amazing.
One thing I will say though is that I never let it show. Even though
Yeah, you don't.
when I messed this up, I looked back, especially because it was like streamed to millions of people. I made myself watch it 10 times. I literally played this part again, and again. Yeah, it was no mercy. I did emotional damage to myself, for sure, but I never
So
wanted to make
funny,
the mistake
isn't it?
ever again.
I wouldn't have even known.
The rest is fine though.
To carry on as well, like to carry on when you've just made a mistake like that takes something. When it's being streamed to millions of people, you've made a little bit of a fuck up, to not just completely crumble and go, oh, I'm so sorry. Like the fact you keep going and no one could tell, it's awesome.
And the funny thing was that for a while, in addition to forcing myself to watch it over and over, I also practiced the part as if I was gonna like have another opportunity.
I mean, I'm surprised he messed it up because it looks really simple. Jeez, I wouldn't even. This would take me 10 years to learn how to do, let alone like the fact he's gone over it 10 times.
Right there, it still has a mental block. I know a lot of musicians struggle with that. When you make a mistake like that, it sort of grows into this weird obstacle in your mind that you really have to practice in front of people to get over. Man, I wish I had tonic back then. I wish I had practiced this on tonic in front of people. Anyway,
I like the ad segue.
I'm so thankful for this opportunity that I had, and one that I'll cherish for the rest of my life, for sure. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and if there's any other clips that you'd like me to react to, definitely let me know in the comments below. Also, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and hopefully, maybe you'll be seeing, who knows, more of me in Arcane Season 2, maybe, Riot? I'm still waiting, call me. In the meantime, happy practicing, and I'll see you in the practice room.
That's so interesting. I would have had no idea. Oh, there's an extra bit. Hang on.
I'm gonna practice this. Yes. Go practice.
That's so interesting to me that when you see like musicians perfectionism like that. Like I'm a perfectionist in my own way, but there's like an element of it where it's like they've got, I don't think some of these people know just how good they are. Not only to be able to play an instrument like that, but to mess it up live and then continue playing and no one has a clue other than you. I don't know, you should give yourself credit for that, let alone take away credit from yourself for making the mess up in the first place. Because to me, that's a better musician than you can even really conceptualize, in my opinion. But hey, this was awesome. I love the music of Arcane. I love music as it is, but I love the music of Arcane. I love learning about it. If there's any more like this that you know about, the best thing to do is suggest it to me in the Discord server, in video suggestions. If you did enjoy this, give it a good old thumbs up. This is from Chen's YouTube channel. I will leave a link to this video and his channel in the description. Go check it out. Go support him as well while you're there. Subscribe, put notifications on. That way you won't miss any future videos. Take very good care of yourself, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.